Hi everybody, Stuff and Things here with a new setup video. I've got some new gear, want to try out an 8.5 board. And before I really get into it, and after I go get that wheel that rolled away, know that I am not sponsored. None of this is sponsored. This is just gear that I like to use, the things that I've been using in the past. So in no way is this video sponsored like I would be sponsored. You know, like that's just laughable. But here is the deck. It's from Revive, and it's got Jason Park's beautiful face on it. I do like Jason Park a lot. He's an amazing skater, and he's a really cool guy. I actually got to skate with him one time in real life, which is super fun. So I wanted to get one of his boards. So before I started making this video, I asked on YouTube and Instagram for people to ask me questions, so I have stuff to talk about during this video. And thank you so much for your questions. I got a good number of responses, and thanks for supporting me and just helping out the channel. So I'm going to start going through those questions, and I will put everybody that asked a question down below, and you should check out their channels. Go hit that subscribe button for these people. They're really cool. So I'll start off with Skate Vision. He asks about the nano cubic wheels that I like. I had a video, I'll put it up in the corner there, about wheels. I tested a whole bunch of wheels a little while back, and I still love the Nano Cubics as a go-to do-everything kind of wheel. Soft enough, hard enough at the same time, can still slide, locks into grinds and things. Like you guys know, I love my little ledge in the garage, so I just think the Nano Cubics are fantastic. I ride them in the 97A and in either 52 or 54 millimeter. I can kind of play with both. The ones I'm putting on today are 54s. Amputee Adele asks, which grip do I use and why? So I'm using Mob Grip, and I think it is my favorite. It's really, really grippy, but it can be hard on your shoes because it is so grippy. I've used other stuff before. I've used Jessup and I've used Am Grip, and I don't have that strong of a preference. I think I do like the grippiness of Mob, but I'm not super particular about it. From the photo at the beginning, Go Skate asked, where are the trucks? Well, you're going to see the trucks here after we get the grip job done. And by the way, don't make fun of my grip jobs. I'm not very good at grips still. I like to do the little rips and stuff to have a little bit of something on the top of the grip tape. Nothing too fancy, but I do like to know which way is the nose and the tail when I pick up the board. And related to trucks, SkaterDad75 asked, how loose are your trucks? And that's a good question because I used to ride pretty tight trucks. I liked them to be pretty solid, not a lot of dip and squirreliness to them. But as I've picked up more and more grinds, especially when I started clicking with crooked grinds, I'm going a little bit looser. I would say I'm a lot closer to medium now than tight. I'm definitely not super loose though, because I still want some of that like stability and support from the trucks. And so the grip job is done there. I'm poking holes in the grip tape, and then I like to cut out the grip tape, the holes. I like to kind of auger them out because I just think I get a better fit with the bolt, and then when we put the trucks on, I don't like pushing straight through the grip tape because I just feel like that's a little bit of extra material that I should get out of there for a nice snug fit. But I don't know if everybody does this, and I don't know how much it matters. Just something I like to do. All right, let's get back to talking about trucks. I'm going to grab another skateboard. Now, this is a skateboard I've used only a tiny bit as a cruiser. My son actually made this deck at a Woodward skate camp and painted it and made it look the way it is. And I'm so hesitant to skate it just because it's something that he made and it's kind of special, I think. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to steal these trucks. These are Indy 149s, just the regular, I think, mids. Indy 149s, because that'll be the right size for the 8.5 board that we're going to. So I'm going to pirate these trucks. They're barely used, so it'll be almost like they're new too. So the next question, I think I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly, Chesande, asked, what is my preference for concave? I don't know if I have one. I've probably just ridden, whatever I can get. I think like Braille boards, Revive boards, and like the Andy Anderson Baby Heron are probably all just kind of mid concave. I don't even know if that's true, but I don't know if I really have that much of a preference. I don't know if I would want a really high concave board. Maybe that would feel weird. He also asked, do I like a twin shape or a regular nose and tail? And now that I've gone to Andy's board, I really like the twin. I like being able to have the same feel in the tail for going for like nollie tail slides as I do in the nose and going for like regular nose slides. I've really grown to like that quite a lot. Tori Skates asked, what's the first trick I ever learned? And this was a good question because I thought I was going to say an ollie in, but then I really thought back to it. And I think it was around when I was in 5th grade. This would be like 1988. I know, I'm really old. I know I saw some skateboarding on TV and I thought I could figure out how do those guys do that ollie thing. I don't even know if I knew it was called an ollie, but they go up in the air and the board comes with them. And I wanted to figure it out because I had a skateboard, but I never could. And what I ended up doing was putting a foot on the ground and then jumping and bringing the board with me with my hand. So I sort of self-taught myself a boneless. I think that was the first real skateboard trick I ever did, which is kind of crazy. And Tori also asked, what's my favorite trick? Well, right now, at the moment, I think I'm just completely in love with the backside 180 crook that you guys have seen a couple of times recently. I don't know what it is about that trick. It's still really hard. I don't get it very often, but when I do, it's just magic. It's one of those ones that just feels so good. So I think that's my answer. All right, so it looks like we got the trucks on, and I'm getting out the Bronson G3 bearings. I like these bearings a lot. I feel like they last a long time, keep their speed for a long time. Especially for me, I skate in my garage all the time, and it's dirty and dusty in there. I sweep it all the time, but it doesn't matter. I can't get all of that out. So my bearings can get really dirty, but Bronson G3s seem to still roll well even if they get dirty. Now, along those lines, Dad Leisure Skateboarding asked if I use spacers, you know, that cylinder that goes in between your bearings, and why. And yes, I do. And here's why. I've used them, and I've had other setups where I don't use them. And I think on the setups where I do use spacers, I think the bearings last longer, keep their speed longer without having to be cleaned. And I don't really know why. I can't really explain it very well, other than maybe somehow they keep dirt from getting into your bearings from like the inside where the axle is. That's like my theory, but I have no idea if that's true. But I do feel like spacers do help my bearing maintenance, if that makes any sense. So as I keep going with wheels, Sober Skater asked, what's the length of my skate sessions? And that's a great question. I talked about this recently with somebody else, and 2 hours seems to be like the magic point. If I go to 2 hours and I stop, or stop before 2 hours, I feel like I'm not as sore and beat up feeling after a skate session. But if I go over 2 hours and if I push it and I go really hard and I go for like 3 hours, I'm like really beat up and dead the next day and probably another day or two after that, and I can't keep skating. So I think 2 hours is kind of that magical line. He also asked, how often do I skate? I skate as often as I can, but my schedule, you know, being an adult, I have a family, I have a job, I have to, you know, do all this stuff. I try to skate a few times a week if I can make it happen. In the winter, I think it's harder because I split my time with like snowboarding too. But in the summer, when skateboarding is kind of one of the things I'm focused on, I think I skate about 2 or 3 times per week. And then last but certainly not least, Keepa asks, what goals do I have once the snow melts, when I'm like back on the skateboard regularly? And I don't really have any specific things for the skateboard or like tricks. I want to maintain my tricks. I want to keep learning new ones. I want to take tricks I do know and do them in more places, like at different skate parks and different elements and boxes and rails and all that sort of stuff. But I do have a couple of goals when it comes to videos. I have an idea that I'm going to have to like chase after all season long for my birthday video when we get all the way to November. So it's kind of a longer term one this year for like a birthday video, but I think it'll be kind of fun. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because it's a long ways away, but know that that's there. And then I have another idea for a collaborative video. A lot of you probably have seen Still Out Here and Still Out Here 2 that I've helped put together over the last couple of years for skaters that are over 40, and the fact that we're still out here, still doing it, still pushing. This year I want to change that up and do something a little bit different. It won't have an age requirement, so, you know, keep an eye out and an ear open for that when I get to that point. But there we are, there's my new setup. I don't think I said, but this setup is going to be used kind of for manual focused things. I think it can still do everything that I like to do, but it's going to be like the manual board. I'll put a list of all the parts I used down below, so if you're interested, you can see what I used. Once again, not sponsored. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.